Hello, NEAR. Welcome to Tutorial 4. In this tutorial, we will learn how to submit transactions using the NEAR Javascript API and DataHub node. We will be building on top of the node.js application created in previous tutorials, so make sure to complete those before continuing this video. Alright, now we can navigate to datahub.figment.io, scroll all the way down to submit your first transaction, Tutorial 4, click Start. At some point, while building on the NEAR blockchain, you will want to submit transactions in order to unlock the full power of NEAR. In this tutorial, we will learn how to submit transactions using the NEAR Javascript API and DataHub node. Now that we have some tokens to spend, let's send some of them to another account. We're going to implement a simple transfer using helper methods available in the NEAR client package, as well as crafting a transaction from scratch for advanced users. Let's go ahead and start by creating a transfer.js file inside of our project. And then we'll go back to the tutorial, grab the code, put it in the folder, and hit Control S for save. Alright, so we've got a bit of new code going here. First, we configure the NEAR client like we did in the previous tutorials. Everything looks familiar, so where is the interesting bit? That's going to be on line 47. Right here. So to send money from your account to another really only takes one line of code. What happens here is essentially the NEAR JavaScript API is abstracting all unimportant information away from developers and letting them concentrate on building the application instead. When sending NEAR tokens during a transaction, the amount needs to be converted into Yocto with format amount helper method. Use the helper method to format amount to avoid sending different amounts than intended. Let's go ahead and run this code with node transfer.js. All right, and then we can open this link to see it. And there's our transaction. If everything works right, you have enough tokens, the recipient exists, etc., you should see a similar output to this, and we did, and then you can check it on the NEAR Explorer. Congratulations! You just completed your first transaction to the NEAR testnet network using the DataHub node. Now we can move on to the advanced transfer part of the tutorial. Now that we know how to perform a simple money transfer, we can dig a bit deeper and build a transaction from scratch. Such experience might be super useful for any developers interested in building advanced applications. Let's start by creating a transfer_advanced.js file and adding the following snippet to it. All right, create file, transfer_advanced.js, grab the snippet, add the snippet to the folder, Control S to save. Let's review this code a little bit. At the top, as usual, we import NEAR, API, JS, and .env. Everything looks the same, but we have an extra package in use this time, JS-SHA-256. We will be using it to produce SHA-256 hashes for our transactions. Next, we load our account key into the key store to be used with NEAR client, just like we did in tutorial number 2, creating accounts. No changes here. Before we can create a transaction, we will need to fetch the access key from our account. To sign a token transfer transaction, we need a sender's key with full access permissions that we're going to use during transaction construction. Access key fetching is done by calling the query method. Each transaction must include a unique number, a nonce, which we can obtain from the access key. We must increment the number to make it valid. The transaction will be rejected if it's assigned an existing nonce value. Transactions in NEAR could have multiple actions encoded in them, unlike other blockchains, which is useful for batch processing on the network. Since we're doing a simple token transfer, we'll use the transfer action. On to construction. The NEAR JavaScript API works with createTransaction method to build the transaction object. The arguments are pretty self-explanatory, with an exception of the last argument. It's a recent block hash data required to prove the transaction was recently constructed, typically within 24 hours. Before we can sign our transaction, we must serialize it using NEAR serialization format, Borscht. Then create a transaction hash signature, and finally sign the transaction with our public key. Our transaction is ready to be sent to the NEAR network. Broadcasting the transaction means that it will be sent to the node, but will not receive a response immediately. It will take some time for the validators to validate our transaction and add it to the block. Luckily, NEAR network is fast enough we can get the transaction confirmed within a few seconds. Let's run the code node transfer _advanced.js. Awesome. Once again, if everything looks right, we should be able to see a very similar output. Awesome. So we've built the transaction from scratch and successfully sent it to the network. We can also check its status, but this part is unchanged, so you should have no problem with inspecting the transaction in the Explorer or in the terminal. We can do that by clicking on here to follow the Explorer. And there we go. Succeeded. Like always, let's go back to datahub.figment.io, scroll down to number 4, and click Verify. Congratulations! Now you not only know how to read from the NEAR blockchain, but also how to interact with it by doing simple money transfers as well as crafting transactions from scratch with NEAR JavaScript API and DataHub. Join us next time as we write and deploy our first NEAR smart contract. As always, if you had any difficulties following this tutorial or simply want to discuss NEAR tech with us, you can join our Discord in the link below. I look forward to seeing you there. Until next time, happy coding.